All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're breaking down the June 2026 ACCA SBL pre-scene document for Dennis and Coco Limited, or DKK. Look, if you're gearing up for this exam, you already know staring down a 31-page scenario is, well, incredibly stressful. It's so easy to fall into that trap of just trying to memorize every single fact, right? Instead of actually analyzing them strategically. So we're going to flip the script. We're transforming all that dense information into a highly actionable, exam-ready strategy. We're looking past the fluff and zooming strictly in on what the examiner is literally begging you to notice. That way, you walk into that exam hall totally ready to score.
So here's our roadmap to passing. We're going to start with DKK's strategic crossroads, then tackle their Tier 1 priorities. After that, we'll hit key risks and support themes, load up your analytical tool belt, and finally, lock down your exam strategy. Let's get to it. Section 1. DKK's strategic crossroads. The absolutely crucial thing to realize right out of the gate here is that DKK isn't just some local hairdressing business. It's a premium brand at a massive turning point. The examiner is totally using this company as a vehicle to test broader business strategy. And to get where they are today, you gotta look at their history. They've enjoyed 40 years of success using very, very traditional methods. I mean, they've built an absolute empire relying on an artisan approach. We're talking highly skilled staff who've honed their craft for years, exceptional one-on-one service, and this incredibly exclusive reputation spanning generations of incredibly loyal clients. But here's the catch. That 40-year legacy? It's both their greatest strength and their heaviest anchor. Today, DKK is operating at a seriously impressive scale. They've got 50 salons and 390 skilled hairdressers, making them the third largest chain in all of K-Land. Their whole operation is completely anchored in prime high street locations, super luxurious environments, and heavily personalized customer service. They absolutely do not compete on price. They compete entirely on the experience. But as you can imagine, those premium salon locations come with astronomical fixed costs. Rent, high-end fit-outs, premium maintenance, the whole shebang. To survive with overheads like that, every single salon has to operate flawlessly and maintain a premium price point just to generate the necessary margins. And this brings us to the central tension of the entire case. While your pre-reading hints at a top 10 list of focus areas, ranging from supply chain logistics to local marketing, the real core dilemma is this. The industry is evolving rapidly, right? Driven by tech, social media, and major shifts in sustainability expectations. So how does DKK modernize its totally outdated operations without destroying the luxury exclusive positioning that literally built its brand over the last 4 decades? This is classic SBL territory, guys. It's the exact lens you've got to look through when reading almost every single issue in this case. Moving on to Section 2, Tier 1 priorities. These are your heavy hitters. Like I said, keep those top 10 focus areas in the back of your mind, but these 4 right here, digital transformation, sustainability and ESG, HR and retention, and strategic change management. These are your absolute Tier 1 priorities. These are the themes most likely to dominate your exam questions for sure. This is where the wider market is moving at lightning speed, and honestly, where DKK is lagging dangerously behind. You need to be deeply, intensely comfortable discussing all 4 of these from a high-level strategic management perspective. So, let's take that first one. Ask yourself this highly likely exam question. Should a luxury brand like this implement online booking and CRM systems? The examiner repeatedly points out their incredibly limited digital engagement, but tread carefully here. Just saying, yeah, they should buy software because it's 2026 is way too basic. SBL markers are hunting for real commercial awareness, not just some generic IT fix. They want to see that you actually get how technology intersects with business strategy. Let's elevate a basic observation into a major scoring point. If you just write down the use paper, the marker's going to think, okay, so what? But if you formulate a jackpot bullet point, noting that paper systems create operational inefficiencies and double bookings, which directly risks making DKK appear outdated to modern affluent consumers, boom, hit the nail on the head. That is how you score. Today's tech-savvy clients expect a totally frictionless digital experience. If DKK makes it a hassle just to book an appointment, competitors are going to seamlessly swoop in and capture that high-net-worth market share. You absolutely have to tie the operational risk of outdated tech directly to brand damage and lost revenue. Sustainability is another massive theme we're dealing with. The scenario is just packed with details about water usage, energy consumption, and an increasingly eco-conscious client base. But remember, SBL markers demand balanced analysis. You really have to evaluate the trade-offs. Yes, there are major reputational benefits, like ethical branding that strongly appeals to wealthy, environmentally aware clients. But on the flip side, you've got harsh commercial realities. We're talking high capital expenditure to retrofit 50 salons for water conservation, serious operational disruptions during those upgrades, and massive challenges in sourcing genuinely sustainable premium products that actually perform to a luxury standard. You've always got to weigh those shiny environmental benefits against the real commercial costs. Now, when we look at HR and retention, keep this quote front and center. Employees are really part of the product. If service quality falls, the brand falls. In a premium service business, the employees literally are the product. DKK is facing severe industry-wide staff shortages right now. Their 390 highly skilled hairdressers are their ultimate competitive advantage, but those shortages severely weaken DKK's bargaining power. Think about it. If DKK loses a top stylist to a competitor, they don't just lose a staff member. They likely lose that stylist's entire roster of wealthy, fiercely loyal clients. You've got to be ready to discuss motivation, reward systems, internal promotion pathways, and how a rock-solid organizational culture actively protects the bottom line.
All right, Section 3, Key Risks and Support Themes. Let's zoom in on the supporting cast of risks that really provide vital context here, starting with their supply chain. DKK relies heavily on two major exclusive contracts for premium styling tools and products. Now sure, this differentiates their brand and builds a barrier to entry, but this heavy dependence makes them incredibly vulnerable. It creates extreme concentration risk. What happens if a supplier takes a reputational hit? Say they get caught using unethical labor practices. That reputational contagion immediately spreads right to DKK's luxury brand. Plus, if a supplier suddenly hikes prices or cuts supply, DKK's profitability takes a direct, massive hit, and they have almost no negotiating power to stop it. To monitor these underlying risks, you've got to keep a really close eye on critical KPIs. Client retention tells you if the luxury experience is actually working. Staff satisfaction directly predicts future service quality. And you must pay special attention to the retail sales percentage. Retail margins are significantly higher than service margins. Historically, this sat above 6%, but it's recently been declining. Why is that alarming? Because selling those high-margin retail shampoos and styling tools helps subsidize the massive fixed costs of those prime salon locations we talked about. A drop here acts as a crucial early warning system for deeper strategic failures, maybe in product marketing or shifting consumer habits.
Section 4. The Analytical Tool Belt. Look, theory gets you absolutely nowhere if it isn't grounded in the case scenario. Knowing how to apply standard business models directly to DKK is vital. When you build a tailored SWOT analysis, every single point has to be firmly rooted in DKK's specific reality. The strengths, their premium brand and loyal clients. The weaknesses are super specific, paper booking systems and manual inventory. The threats aren't just generic competition, it's the severe industry staff shortages and tech-savvy rivals. And hey, don't stop there. Bring in Porter's 5 forces to really wow the examiner. Think about supplier power, which is incredibly high due to those exclusive contracts we just discussed, or the threat of substitutes for mobile, tech-savvy freelance stylists who don't have the overhead of a premium salon. That level of targeted application is exactly how you rack up the points. Similarly, a pestle analysis perfectly highlights the external pressures forcing DKK to adapt. Economically, they're facing volatile energy and water costs. Though their wealthy clientele does offer some economic resilience during downturns, socially, there's a massive shift towards sustainability and digital convenience. And politically and legally, they have to navigate strict employment laws and rigorous health and safety compliance, like allergy patch testing rules for chemical dyes, which just adds to the operational complexity. You can clearly see how these external market forces are actively demanding strategic change from DKK's management. And finally, Section 5, Exam Strategy. Let's talk about how you're actually going to execute all this knowledge on exam day. The June exam will highly likely ask you to evaluate modernization initiatives, and they will absolutely want it in a specific professional format. You really need to prepare for a board report, a recommendation memo, a briefing paper, or a strategic evaluation document. What does that actually mean for you? Well, a board report needs a clear introduction, structured headings for each strategic point, and crisp, actionable conclusions. Strictly following the requested layout, like making a memo actually look like a memo, is literally the easiest way to secure presentation marks. Seriously, do not throw those easy professional marks away just because you forgot to write a to and from line. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to carry this provocative question with you into the exam hall. Can DKK modernize its operations without losing its luxury soul? Will digitizing the booking system ruin that personal touch? Will expanding too fast dilute the brand's exclusivity? This is the ultimate balancing act that's going to define every single strategic recommendation you make for Dennis & Coco Ltd. Keep this central tension in mind, apply it directly to your models, and you will absolutely crush this exam. Good luck with your prep.